Welcome to Women We Should Know with international speaker, mindset reset mentor, author, and your host, Leslie Michaels. With audacious honesty and candor, the Women We Should Know podcast presents the wisdom and life-empowering insights of women who are the embodiments of innovation and social evolution. Please join Leslie as she shares potent conversations that will inspire your personal and professional evolutions. Welcome to Women We Should Know.
Welcome back to Women We Should Know 2023 version. Yes, I know. I've been saying that for a little while now, but I'm still a little impressed that we got to 2023 and here we are. And we are moving in huge new directions, bringing in even more dynamic women with more to share with each of you, more inspiration, and more just kicking butt and taking names and getting us moving in this world, doing something good that we can all come together on collectively and create new paradigms that uplift all women. And I am so proud to be able to be a part of this energy and be a part of this momentum and to bring these amazing guests to you. So, before we get right to the conversation, let me tell you who we're going to be speaking with. Kisha Woods is a women's transformative mindset coach and founder of Upgraded Mindset. Kisha coaches, inspires, motivates, and teaches women from all walks of life. Her unbiased support and transformational tools help build a powerful partnership dedicated to helping women heighten the bar on amplifying personal success and entrepreneurial growth. She is the host of Empowering Real Talk podcast, where I just had the honor of being a guest just recently. Check that out as well. I know you're going to enjoy hearing her here. So go and hear both of us on her show as well. Her show brings awareness, resource, and solution to negative limiting behaviors, restricting individual and community growth. Now, those of you who've been with me for a while know I'm all about this. I'm all about women breaking all of the generational trauma, the generational misogyny, the generational biases, digging up our unconscious bias at any level and throwing that out, making space for something much more powerful. And I will tell you, Kisha is all about this. She is a dynamic woman. And I am so proud, Kisha, to have you and welcome you on the show today.
Thank you so much for being here. It is a pleasure seeing your face again, and I am loving being on the platform. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I have a little tradition. I always like to start by asking the women who come to the podcast, what inspired you today?
That's a good question. My continual thoughts of prosperity is what inspired me today. I lead a prosperous life. I claim that, I speak that. It is a part of daily affirmation for myself. So prosperity, clarity, and continual growth. That is my inspiration probably 7 days a week. So today is no exception to that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's time for all of us as women to be able to claim that and to be able to live that, to be able to actualize that in our lives. So thanks for starting us out on a great note. I know that you are highly focused and really dedicated to helping women to shift their minds, to create intentional prosperity with unapologetic confidence. Unapologetic is a word I love to relay to women and invite women to experience in any way. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you do that and how you help women to successfully negotiate these shifts toward personal empowerment?
Well, the first thing that women have to really do is to admit that there's a flaw there. And, sometimes society has put so much on our back that we're scared to admit that.
Yes.
We want to, portray that we have everything together 24/7, and the actual cause of that is we don't. So what we're going to first work on is the accountability that you've got to assume. The accountability of understanding that you don't know everything, the accountability of knowing that there is situations that you have to rectify. There is inner struggles that you are dealing with that are holding you back on a personal note, on a business level. So accountability is the first thing that we're going to address. And once we address that accountability, you're going to have half the bricks off of your shoulders already, because you're going to be proud of the fact that you admitted that you're not perfect. You're going to be proud of the fact that you are becoming open-minded to receive new methods of transformation. And that is something that we are going to have to do on a daily basis. So once we establish the accountability, now we're going to figure out, are you walking in your core values? Our values are something that we will, suppress. I did that for years. I lived life according to what society felt, to what others thought they felt and felt I should do. And I was not walking in my own journey. So we're going to, get to their core values. And people will be surprised that sometimes the things that you think that you rock with, you don't necessarily, but you default to that because that's what you've seen, you've grown up with. We're going to get to the core of your values wholeheartedly. And then once we do that, the transformation is going to begin. We're going to, apply the reconditioning tools, which it can go to, daily affirmations. Sometimes we're going to address, people that are in your life, the good, the green and the reds is what I call them. The green meaning the good things that are helping in life, the red things which are holding you back. Because we've got to really figure those out, if we're wanting to live a life of peace, clarity, and, abundance. We've got to figure that shit out. So, those are just some of the beginning methods that we're going to do. But the overall goal is to completely transform how you think about yourself, giving yourself an unapologetic level of confidence that nobody can take away from you, and to be able to walk in that every day. No days off when it comes to that unapologetic confidence.
No days off. No days off. One of the things I find, and I'd be curious to hear your take on it. One of the things I find with women, and hey, I'm going to just own it. I used to do this,
Right.
Been there, mastered it, and then recovered. But that is feigning confidence out of a fear of being able to acknowledge that I didn't feel confident in this, or I didn't even feel that I had any clue about that. And women do this to appear powerful. And what we don't realize when we're doing that is that we're actually giving away our power. There's power in being able to say, no, I need to learn more of that. No, I need more support in that. Do you find that? And how do you help women address and overcome that?
All right. Well, one thing that I find with us women is that we like to stay in our victimization. And, I know a lot of us are going to be like, well, what do you mean by that? I've gone through a lot. We have gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot individually. We've gone through a lot as community. But we want to stay there because we don't want people to forget what we've gone through.
Right.
So we've got to now apply the logic and say, this is logically holding me back. So now
Yes.
I'm going to take this and rise above it, never going to forget, but I'm going to rise above it. And that is
Mhm.
going to involve me shifting my habits. You know, if I'm doing habits that are keeping me in that restricted state of mind, I've now got to shift that, you know, and that involves
Right.
sacrificing things that are stopping your growth. You know,
Mhm.
as a person, as a mother, as a wife, as a worker, as an entrepreneur, all of that. We've got to
Mhm.
get out of that victimized state of thinking so we can have the clarity that we need to move forward in what it is that we want in life. It's super
Mhm.
important. Don't
Mhm.
forget where you came from, but stop staying there. And I find that a lot with women, especially the conversations I have, because that's what they want to talk about. And I'm
Mhm.
not here to talk about your victimizations and the stories of the past. I'm here to help
Mhm.
you empower your future by taking the struggles of the past and using that as strength to keep pushing
Mhm.
you forward. And that's the goal that, you know, we want to have. Never
Mhm.
forget, but don't allow it to keep you stuck.
That's right. I find women hold on to that as a flag of victory because
Yes,
they survived it. But what they're not realizing in doing that is that they're not victorious until they set that flag down, walk away, and
there it
overcome it.
is. Boom. Just like that. We've got to step that down, take that flag down. You know,
Mhm.
everybody has a story. And I say that not minimizing anyone's trials and tribulations in life, but we all have a story.
Mhm.
You know, I could sit with somebody for 10 minutes, and if I tell them even three things that's going on in my life, their mouths drop. They're like, oh my God, I never knew. Exactly, because I have taken those and I have triumphed above and allowed myself to walk in my purpose. And that
Mhm.
involves me leaving that back there and
Mhm.
not allowing that to be what's defining me. And
Mhm.
we've got to stop letting our struggles be our definition of who we are.
Right. Right. And don't lead with your survivor story because then you're actually
Yes.
just telling your victim story.
Yes. And people don't realize if you're trying to get a point across to somebody, to me, you know, for me, example, if that's the first thing you're coming to me, then I can only imagine that's the first thing you've come to 25 other people and said.
That's right.
So now you are establishing a form of pity on yourself, but you don't want to
Mhm.
be pitied. But you're establishing that pity when that's the first thing you're leading out with. So you've
Mhm.
got to find an alternative method. Start off
Mhm.
with the triumphs first. You know, if
Right.
someone asks specifically, that's one thing. But even then, don't go into a 20-minute detail of everything that you've gone through, because now how they look at you is going to say, you know what, she might not be, you know, where she thinks she is because she can't let it go.
Mhm.
Let it go.
Mhm. Mhm. You say you help women understand how to become accountable to be actionable.
There it is.
Talk about that. Help me. Take me there.
Listen, we have got to understand that, yes, we stayed in that relationship longer than we should have.
Right.
You know, we stayed at a job longer than we should have. We accepted toxic family members longer than we should
Mhm.
have. Okay.
Mhm.
But we can break free from that. It is a
Mhm.
requirement. We
Mhm.
don't have to live in stress and havoc. I want us to get out of the mainstream views of feeling like that we have to be stressed, overworked, underpaid for us to live the life that we want. Because how is that the life that you want? You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
becoming accountable also is going to tell you, you know what? I'm going to have to do way more work because I've done the default work, but I got to
Mhm.
dig deeper at this point. I've got to really dig wholeheartedly in my soul and say, you
Mhm.
know what? this is not aligning with me. I've got to really become who I want to be. And that involves shedding old habits, breaking up with old routines, leaving jobs, leaving 20-year relationships. Those are the sacrifices that have to be made. And those are
Right.
part of the actionable plans that we've got to take if we really want to live the life that, we really want to live for ourselves. And that's just something that we've got to become actionable on. I say that become accountable to get actionable.
Mm-hmm.
That action has to be involve the sacrifices. And that might be sacrifices for 6 damn months straight. But you got to be prepared for that. You got
That's
to be
right.
prepared for that.
Yes. Yeah. You got to sacrifice your victimhood to have your power.
Absolutely.
I know you speak also about helping women embrace their individual journey. And I'd like to tie that back to what you were speaking about in reference to core values earlier. We have to embrace or even understand what our core values are in order to embrace our individual journey, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And how do we do that? There's a lot of talk about individual values right now and core values. And what I see is a lot of people that don't even know how to contextualize what that is.
Mm-hmm. We don't know, and it's okay to not know that what you are, what you want in life. I spent 40 years not really knowing what it was that I wanted to, be wholeheartedly true. I was just living day to day. And I know a lot of us do that. So there have to be like key factors and steps to actually help you identify, for example, if you're doing something along your journey and it's not sitting right with you, you've got to learn to trust that. You've got to learn to trust your gut with that. It could be a specific field of work that you've done for so long, but you just always had like an ill feeling about that. That's not aligning with your values. That's not aligning with the journey that you want to take in regards to being clear on what you want to do. Now, if you just want to live life in havoc and you're okay with living life in havoc, then you just keep living life in havoc. But that's something that I don't want to be surrounded with. So as far as you really embracing your individual journey, you've got to like step into the inside of yourself and feel when you've got something that might be burning the wrong way inside, that's not for you. That's not aligning with your value. That's not your values. Just because you've done it with somebody else for so long doesn't necessarily mean that that's for you. So you just got to understand that even though you've done something repetitively for years, that doesn't mean that it's for you. So really walk into yourself and embrace those.
Right, right, right. So what I hear you saying, I believe, is that you can use, for those who don't know what their values are or don't know how to pinpoint them, they can use the life experiences that they're having now in terms of what isn't working to help redirect their attention to understand what the values that they carry that and the actions that will work.
Yeah. And go back to the past as well. If you think of something like, man, I used to do this and I hated it, I could not stand it, then that's not something that's aligned with you. My suggestion is when you are on the journey of trying to find self wholeheartedly, you've got to start writing these feelings down. You've got to start journaling these things. You've got to start putting things on paper. That helped me, really come into who I was because I paid attention to those feelings each time something happened or each time I had to do something. I paid attention to how it made me feel, what it made me do, if the resistance was big, or if I jumped wholeheartedly into it without a second doubt. That's how I knew something was for me. And that was something that was, that I trusted within my values.
What do you do with, I have to throw one at you that is just, this one just makes me wild every time. What do you do with, oh, Kisha, I'd love to, but I don't have time. I have kids. I have husband. I have this. I have that. I don't have time. What do you do with that?
So my fallback on that one is there is 1,440 minutes in the day. I don't go off the 24-hour mark. There's 1,440 minutes in the day. and you have the time. You make the time. You
Mhm.
have to put forth the effort to put the time in. Because if it's something that you want, you can sit here and sulk about it all day, or you
Mhm.
could take 15 out of those 1,440 minutes. Because when I put it like that, they're like, oh my God, I really do have the time, you know. But if I can take 15 of those 1,440 minutes and make things happen on a continual growth basis, I don't want
Mhm.
people to feel like they've got to do everything in one whop. And that's where a lot of us fall short.
Mhm.
Understand that the journey is continual. There are
Mhm.
small moves that are going to turn into big moves. And
Mhm.
that is important to understand to keep you consistent. And that 15 minutes is going
Mhm.
to change your life, because you're going to turn that 15 into 30, because that intention is going to now tell you in your mind and shift your mind to say, you know what, this is what I want to do. When
Mm.
we acquire new habits and get new habits, we're going to want to do those. They're going to stay at the forefront of our mind because it's something that we like to do. You
Right.
know, so start it with
Right.
15 minutes. Next week, go 30 minutes. Next week, go 45. The next thing you know, you done did 90 minutes of something that just 2 weeks ago you said you didn't have time to do.
I love that. I wrote that down 1,440 minutes. That's going right there on my whiteboard because that will help me to remember 1,400. I
Absolutely.
am the worst about, I will cut time out of sleep because I'm still thinking in 24 hours
Yep.
and I'm looking at everything in hour segments. I believe that will help me a lot. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
It definitely
I,
helped me. No problem. No problem.
yes, and I know it's helping women out there who are listening to all this. They're saying, "Ooh, that's a good, powerful new way to look at this."
Yes. Yes. Yes.
In addition to that, we'll use that as number one because I love that one.
Hey.
What are two more actionable takeaways that you would like to share with the women that are listening in terms of how do they find, how do they reach inside and find the courage
Hmm.
to vote for and act for themselves?
Just wanting to continue quality of life. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to really continue on your quality of life, then there has to be small moves. You know, I'm big on making the small moves because I feel like the smaller moves are going to eventually bring the major moves that you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that you are your own individual. Don't
Mm-hmm.
compare yourself. You know, don't compare yourself to what you see on social media. Trust your gut. If you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling it, roll with it. It
Mm-hmm.
might feel wrong at that
Mm-hmm.
moment, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel wrong overall. You
Mm-hmm.
know, be just be open to receive. You know, don't keep your mind closed. Be open
Mm-hmm.
minded to receive different things, different methods, different options, different people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
don't close your circle. I know a lot of us have that whole no new friends, no new, you know, this, but don't close your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Opening my circle has allowed, you know, empowering women like yourself into my life, and just other women that are so like minded in my purpose and my mission to want to bring, you know, empowering real talk to others to, you know, to embrace the unapologetic confidence. So be
Mm-hmm.
open to receive that. Don't
Mm-hmm.
have the mindset that everyone is out to get you, because they're not. You know, if you're surrounded by people that you feel like that, it's time for you to make the adjustments to shift. And you've got to get the courage. Be okay with being while you're by yourself, while
Mm-hmm.
you find yourself. And that's another thing that I definitely want to say. Be okay
Oh,
with being
that's
by
a great
yourself
one. Now, let's
while
not
you
let
find
that just
yourself.
run by. Let's make sure that everybody heard be okay being by yourself
While you
while
find
you
yourself.
find yourself. Well, you can't find yourself if you're never with yourself. I
Yep.
love that, Keisha.
Yes.
That's a whiteboard. That is a whiteboard quote. If ever I heard one, that's a whiteboard quote. So, what's one more that you would share with our women today?
One last thing I would just say is sacrifice is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sacrificing anything, and I mean anything, that is causing you stress, that is causing you, you know, bad eating habits, get yourself into a small routine. Be okay with applying, as I said before, the few minutes here, the few minutes there. They will all turn into huge minutes, but just be okay with understanding that you are braver, you're stronger and smarter than you think. You know,
Mhm.
take listen to something on YouTube. Listen to an Audible book. Shift up what you're listening to. Maybe instead of watching reality TV, turn it into a documentary about women's empowerment, about
Mhm.
growth, about shifting things and things like that. Because the goal is to get it into your subconscious mind so it can stay there and so you can keep being intentional to stay actionable.
Mhm. You
Yeah.
know what I love about what you just said? Two things really important is you started out by saying there's always sacrifice, but then the sacrifices you highlighted are the ones we do that are actually undermining us. And I know some women out there are going to say, well, that's not a sacrifice, but it is, because I'm just going to ask all you women out there thinking, well, that's not a sacrifice. How many times did you do that last week?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if it's a pattern, then it's a sacrifice. It's something
There
we've
you
become
go.
dependent on to keep ourselves smaller, to keep ourselves distanced from ourselves. I
Absolutely.
love that you frame that in the way of calling it what it is, which is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of something that is costing us valuable life
Absolutely.
hours, valuable joy. I love that. So,
Yeah.
whiteboard moment. And then small routines. I always call it micro steps when I'm
Hmm.
speaking, is take micro steps. You're not going to climb the mountain all at once. I really appreciate the way you repetitively invite women to take those small steps, to create
Yeah.
small routines. Micro steps are one thing, but to actually have an entire routine that's small, but it's a routine, therefore there's space within it to expand itself. So,
Absolutely.
whiteboard moment, small routines.
Absolutely.
So, okay, just to recap, women, this is what we're putting on our whiteboards: 1,440 minutes, sacrifice
There you go.
what's holding us back,
Stop it. Stop the
small
setbacks.
and small routines. Small routines, all courtesy of Kisha here today. Amazing woman.
Thank
Now, I
you.
have one more thing I want to discuss with you, but before I do, where do all our women find you?
As you stated earlier, my podcast is the Empowering Real Talk podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube or you can find me on your favorite podcast streaming platform. If you're wanting to learn more about Kisha services and dope products that are offered, you can go to www.upgradedmindsets.life. I have my online store, which is upgradedmindsets.shop. If you're looking to purchase some dope, empowering, positive field information, designs are updated monthly. I'm just pretty much kind of everywhere. I have my book that is actually in the process in March of 2023, which I definitely wanted it to be there for Women's History Month, will be actually released. And it is From Havoc to Healing 30 Days of Reconditioning. That is a 30-day devotional that I took off in April of 2020 to really begin my transformation because that's when my shifts literally began. And I am ready to share that with the rest of the world. So I'm super excited for you guys to get some insight and value from there because it's going to tell you all about the things that I did in that 30-day transformational shift.
Getting rid of the havoc,
Get
healing
rid of the
ourselves
havoc.
out of havoc, that is so important. And I have spoken to woman after woman after woman after woman who 2020 was our year.
Yeah,
It felt hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it felt hard. But
it was hard.
2020 really was the year of the woman. It was the year when so many of us went inside and said, okay,
It was. Oh my God, it was.
this is rubber hit the road, got to get real time.
Yep. It was really, really that time for me. I really, it was just so, I actually get emotional talking about it because just remembering those emotions that I was going through at that time, I know so many women can relate to those, and that's what Upgraded Mindsets was actually created during that time of transformation, because I knew at that time I wanted to come back and inspire and empower others to do the same thing that I was doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I really adore about women. I mean, my life's been lived in a circle of women.
Yes.
It's always been women, from my suffragette grandmother on. Women, true heartfelt women, always want to help other women do the same.
Yep. And it's a fact. And I walk in that every damn day. Yep. I wake up every morning with a thought of, how am I going to inspire? How am I going to empower? Who am I going to motivate today? If I speak with one person and they give me the smile and thank me, that is a level of fulfillment for me for that day. And the next day is going to be the same thing.
Yep. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. As the great Elanya Van Zandt said, the best way to achieve success is help someone else get there first.
Talk about it. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
What is the one phrase or challenge that you would like to give the women listening today as a gift as we close out this show today?
Oh, well, I say this quote daily, and it's my personal quote of, the journey is necessary. The journey can be different in so many eyes, but we wake up every day knowing that there are changes that we need to make within. And I want us to take those 4 words and understand that you have that power. It all lies in your head. It all lies in your actions. And it's so necessary. It's necessary for you to build the reality that you can have. It's never, ever too late. Don't you ever think because you are 60 years old with 5 grandkids that it's too late for you to make the shifts necessary. It's never too late. That journey will always be necessary. And I want you to take it.
It is never too late. That's the name of my company, Never Too Late Media.
Ooh, I love it. Come on.
I live. It is never too late, women.
Never.
So I love that you bring that forward too, Kisha, because it doesn't belong to me. It's just words I strung together because I believe they're true. And the more of us who use those words, the more women who are going to hear it, and the more women who are going to say, well, maybe I'll take a little chance on me.
Yep.
Start with a little chance. Remember?
Just a little.
Small routines. It's on your whiteboard.
Yes, it is. Put them in different colors if you need to.
There you go. Kisha, thank you so much. This has been tremendous fun, informative, inspiring. I am sincerely grateful that you came to be with us today.
And I am just as grateful to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me on the platform and to be exposed to your listeners, because I know you are so amazing. I just admire your work so much, and I am just honored to be here with you today. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. We're all in this together.
Amen.
Okay, women. Now, those of you who know the drill, just hang in there with me a second. For those of you who are just joining us, please hit subscribe, hit like, and here's the most important point. The most important thing I'm going to ask you to do: leave a comment. I love having the privilege of being on here and having these great conversations with these women. My big focus, my big desire is for these conversations not to stop at the end of this episode. For you to comment, send Kisha a message, send me a message. I don't care what it is. That was great. I learned something. I hated your shirt. It doesn't matter what it is. Just join the conversation.
Join it.
Let's all start having more conversations with each other in more ways, on more platforms, and start sharing and finding that space where each one of us gets a little piece of something every day, and each one of us shares a little piece of something every day. I know you enjoyed hearing everything Kisha had to say. Now I'm going to do for you what I always do for you. I will put all of her social media links, everything she'll let me post about her. It'll be in the program notes. So you just have to go there and get it. And while you're at it, hit subscribe and leave a comment, leave a question. Join us in the conversation. Most significantly, women, please remember, as you go through the rest of your day, you are stronger and you are wiser than you know.